What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now Plus. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about review scores. I want to try to have just a kind of offbeat conversation on the channel. Obviously, hopefully today's Sunday when the video goes up, when you guys see it. So I wanted to try something a little bit different, right? Not really news heavy, just try to do a different kind of topic. So this does connect, right? Because earlier this week we talked about Horizon, and we talked about the kind of ongoing feud online of the game getting an 89 versus 90, and what does that mean? And are people upset? Should people be upset? All of that stuff. And in that video, I talked about my kind of thoughts of review scores. So I want to go all the way in and kind of talk about which style I prefer. So, well, I want to get it out there early, right, and just say my honest opinion is I'm not a fan of scores, okay? I told the story in that video, but I'll retell it maybe faster here. Back in the day when I was growing up, when I was a kid, when I was growing up learning about video games, or I guess like reading about them, I don't even know if you could consider that learning, right? But I'd go on IGN, I actually went on Kotaku for a fair amount of time, and I would, I'd listen to podcasts, I'd read the news articles, and I'd do the reviews, right? I'd look at the reviews. Now, I looked at a lot of IGN's reviews. They were like my primary go-to thing. And obviously, they gave scores. And I never really had too much of a problem. I know I talked about it in that video. I didn't like the fact that they changed it to 0.5. Remember, they could just do anything. They could give a game like a 7.2, a 7.8, and then eventually they changed it because they thought, well, what's the difference between a 7.8 and a 7.7? Which I do agree with that. I actually think there is like a massive problem there where it's like, what actually makes those two scores different? In my opinion, nothing. So then they changed it to 0.5s, and you would think, all right, well, that does make it better, I guess, right? Because now you can only go there. But then even that, it's like, well, it feels like something's missing. It almost feels like you're missing now those in-between points. So it didn't really work, and then they went back to the old style. So I used to like scores. I really did. But as I got older, and maybe I got a little bit wiser, right? I really did learn what I think the central point to reviews has always been, right? A review, whether it's my review or a YouTuber's review or a game journalist review, right? Really should be the words. The words that you're reading throughout the article should be the most important. You should be able to get what they feel about the game or how they feel about the game from their words. If you can't do that, then they're a bad writer or they're a bad explainer, right? Again, if it's like audio, if it's like a YouTuber, right? You should be able to get a grasp of at least how they feel about it. And then the score is supposed to just kind of reflect what they've been saying all along. Now, the issue is that nobody has long attention spans, right? Everybody, including myself, right? We all have short attention spans. So to read an entire article or to read an entire review of hundreds or if not thousands of words is difficult for a lot of... Now, honestly, it shouldn't be. Honestly, we've kind of stooped down a little too low, but it's the way it is. It just is the way it is. So you have to convey it somehow, and obviously people are drawn to the flashy, big, red number or just big number in general, right? I prefer... Now, I had somebody say this in the Horizon video that I talked about it. I do actually prefer ACG, right? The YouTuber. I actually prefer his style or his... It's literally kind of like, what do you even call it? Like a slogan, right? I prefer that or like that more than I think anybody else. Now, I don't watch him like religiously, but I do watch him casually. I think he also just does a good job in general. He's a very solid content creator. But I really respect the whole buy, wait, wait for sale or never touch, whatever that thing. And he's added things, he's subtracted things to that slogan. But I really think that is the best model where, and it's not one that I've like stolen from, but it's one I think I've inadvertently kind of done my own version of on my channel, because I don't even, and as I said in that Horizon video, honestly, for me, I try to just talk. I just say, here's what I loved, here's what I didn't love, just kind of, and just talk for an extended period of time. And I think, or I hope, that how I felt about it would be reflected in what I'm saying. I think you should be able to kind of read, you know what I mean? But also, I put a lot of the... not burden, I guess I put a lot of the responsibility on you guys, right? I've always been that way, where it's like you guys should make the decision. You shouldn't go based off of one review. You shouldn't read the IGN review and say, oh, there it is. Like the game is an 8. That's all it is. And again, and as I've said in the past, like review scores also get very toxic or controversial or whatever phrase you want to use, right? Because different numbers or scales means something different to everybody. A 5 to some people truly is average. The word average. Now, average does not mean bad, right? Bad would be a 4, 3, 2, like, you know what I mean? So 5 is average, but when a lot of people, including myself, let's not lie, right? When we see a 5, if a game got an overall Metacritic average or just an average of a 5 out of 10, is that a good game? Or is that even an average game in any of our minds? No, we actually would probably think the game is god-awful. You know what I mean? That's just the way it is. But to some review sites, 5 literally just means it's an average game. I think Angry Joe's is that way as well in terms of a YouTuber perspective, right? So that's just the way it is. And that really, again, I think that causes trouble. And then you also have these, stupid people, in my opinion, that will debate the Horizon stuff, right? What is the goddamn difference between an 89 and a 90? The answer is nothing. The point one is truly nothing. Yes, it's the difference between being considered a must-play on Metacritic and not. And yes, I know people had made the point that maybe there were like fanboy sites on the other side, or just sites that kind of had it out for PlayStation and gave the game bad scores. I mean, there's bad sites all around, though, right? I mean, I call Polygon Kotaku. So Polygon gave it a high score. Then actually, you should take the high score away from it. You know what I mean? So it's tough to play that game because I think there's like 95% of the sites are bad in the first place. So that's again why I don't go by any of it. Obviously, it's nice to see a game get an 89. There's general consensus that the game is pretty okay, or pretty, obviously in this case, pretty darn good, right? But I just don't go based off of it. So yeah, in my opinion, I prefer, and it is the, I don't even know what you want to call it, more boring way, definitely the more like drawn out way, and that's not everybody's style, and I understand that. And again, in a world where everything's moving so fast, or you're in school, or you have a job, or whatever, right? You come home, you see, okay, oh, the review scores are out for this game. You go, you pick your favorite sites, if IGN is your go-to, whatever, and you see that it got a 7, and you say, all right, you know what I mean? You're locked in. You may not even read IGN's actual review. You may just look at the 7 and judge it based off that. I mean, I get that. I don't agree with it, but I totally understand how or why people do it, because that's just the way the world is. But my preferred style is more like ACGs, where literally it's, yeah, should you buy it? Should you not buy it? Should you wait for it to be half off? Should you not? And I really think that's a great model, because you know what that does, and this is where I'll end the video, okay? When you make something kind of as ambiguous as that, or as open, right? Because when you say buy it or don't buy, and that's what I say too. His, I think, is a little bit more specific. Mine's even, I would say, even more open, where I just talk about it and I say, hey, I loved it. I think you'll love it. But, if you want to go buy it, right? So that's kind of my style. And I think what that really does, though, is just simply state, hey, it's how you feel about me, or it's how you feel about him, or it's how you feel about these reviewers, right? I loved it. I really enjoyed it. And now it's your turn to make up your own, you can give it a score when you play it, if that's what you want to do. But, I don't really feel the need to give it an 8.7, because then you could say, well, why not an 8.9? I could say, well, I don't know what makes a game an 8.7 or 8.9. I don't know. I truly don't, like, what? Obviously, I guess the only thing that does it is to have all of these games, and I guess that's probably how it came about, right? All these games, you say, well, this game was an 8.8, and you say, well, I like this game slightly more, so it's an 8.9. But it's not as good as that 9.0 game we reviewed a while back, so I'm going to put it at an 8. You know what I mean? So that's got to be how they rationalize it. But again, I just think kind of keeping it open is the best way of doing it, and saying, hey, just so you know, I really loved it. I'm not going to give it a score. I don't think it needs a score. I loved the game. Now, do you trust me? Yes or no? Okay, and then based on that answer, you get. And then if you want to review it, you say, I'd give the game a 9. I loved it. I mean, thank you for just saying you loved it and I played it, and I would give that game a 9. That's fine. I mean, that's awesome. So that's how I think it. Again, I'm not going to say that's how it well, I guess I am. I was about to say that's how it should be. I would prefer it that way. Obviously I'm one for like freedom, and different, groups of people or companies making their own decisions. So, I don't mind that review scores are still, obviously, but I mean, to again, not beat around the bush, like I make videos off it. I make content off of review scores, predicting them or reacting to them when they happen. I mean, that is part of, now it's like a video every like 30 videos. I mean? It's not like like my channel's run off that, but it gives me a video every now and then to talk about. So, it does help the channel a little bit, right? So I don't know if I ever want them to go away, but I think there's better ways out there, or ways to kind of put it in the consumers, side, or give the ball basically to them. I think there's better ways of doing that than what we currently have. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. Hit the bell icon so you guys know when all these videos go up. And I hope to see you all on tomorrow's video.